My sister secretly sold our grandmother's house, lied about the deal, and kept all the money for herself. Later, I exposed her plan, took my legal share, and watched her deal with the fallout alone. I'm 29 male, and this is about my sister Kelsey, 32. We lost our grandmother last year. She was basically our second mother after our parents divorced when I was 12 and Kelsey was 15. Our mom moved across the country for work, and our dad was too busy with his new girlfriend to care much about us. Grandma Rose took us in every summer and most weekends. Her house on Maple Street became our real home. When our parents split, Kelsey and I became really close. We had to look out for each other. She taught me how to ride a bike, helped me with homework, and stood up to bullies at school. I was the annoying little brother, but she never made me feel unwanted. We spent countless hours in Grandma's backyard building forts and playing games she made up. Those were the happiest times of my childhood. Grandma Rose was diagnosed with dementia 3 years ago. It got worse quickly. Kelsey lived closer to her, about 20 minutes away, while I was 2 hours north in the city. Kelsey took care of most of the daily stuff like grocery shopping and doctor visits. I came down every weekend and during my vacation time from work. We split the cost for her care and hired a part-time aide when she couldn't be alone anymore. Last January, Grandma passed away peacefully in her sleep. The funeral was small but nice. Kelsey and I were the main inheritors. Grandma had left us the house and some savings split equally between us. The house needed a lot of work, the roof leaked, the kitchen was from the 1970s and the floors were warped in several places. But it sat on a nice lot in a neighborhood that was getting better each year. Kelsey suggested we renovate and sell it. The real estate market was good, and we could make decent money if we fixed it up properly. I agreed. We figured it would take about 6 months and cost around $30,000 in materials and contractor fees. We would split everything down the middle and share the profits equally. I took a leave of absence from my job as a software developer. My company was understanding since I had been there for 5 years and had good performance reviews. Kelsey kept working at her accounting firm, but said she would handle the paperwork and permits while I managed the day-to-day renovation work. The first month was rough. I had to learn how to do things I had never done before. I watched YouTube videos on plumbing, electrical work, and tile installation. I made mistakes, but kept going. Kelsey came by most evenings after work to see the progress and help with smaller tasks like painting and cleaning. We started with the roof. I hired a contractor for that since it was too dangerous for me to do alone. Then I tackled the kitchen. I removed all the old cabinets, appliances, and countertops. The previous kitchen had this ugly yellow flooring that was peeling up at the edges. Underneath was hardwood that just needed sanding and refinishing. Kelsey and I picked out new cabinets at a home improvement store. We chose a simple white style that would appeal to most buyers. I installed them myself with help from a neighbor who had done similar work before. The new countertops were granite that we got at a discount from a supplier Kelsey found through her work connections. By month 3, the kitchen was almost done. I had also fixed the warped floors in the living room and 2 bedrooms. Kelsey handled getting quotes from different contractors for the bathroom renovation, since that was beyond my skill level. We decided to update both bathrooms completely, with new fixtures, tiles, and vanities. The work was hard but satisfying. Every day, I could see real progress. Kelsey seemed happy with how everything was turning out. She brought takeout dinner several nights a week, and we would eat sitting on the floor since we had moved out all the furniture. We talked about our childhood memories in that house and laughed about some of the crazy things we used to do. During month 4, Kelsey started acting differently. She became less involved in the daily decisions about materials and fixtures. When I asked for her input on paint colors or which contractor to hire for the bathrooms, she would say I should just decide. She stopped coming by as often, and when she did visit, she seemed distracted. I asked if everything was okay at her job or with her boyfriend, Jeremiah, 34M. She had been dating him for about a year. She said work was busy and Jeremiah was fine. I didn't push it because Kelsey had always been private about her personal life. The bathroom renovations took longer than expected. The contractor we hired found some water damage behind the walls that needed to be fixed first. This added another 2 weeks and about $3,000 to our budget. Kelsey agreed to the extra expense, but I could tell she was not happy about it. By month 5, the house was looking amazing. New roof, updated kitchen with stainless steel appliances, refinished hardwood floors throughout, and 2 completely remodeled bathrooms. I had also painted the entire interior and exterior. The front yard landscaping needed work, but that could wait until spring. Kelsey suggested we get the house appraised to see what it might sell for. The appraiser came out on a Wednesday afternoon. Kelsey met me there, which was unusual since she rarely came by during weekdays anymore. The appraiser spent about 2 hours measuring rooms and taking photos. A week later, we got the appraisal report. The house was valued at $280,000. Grandma had bought it in 1985 for $45,000. Even after subtracting what we had spent on renovations and what we would pay in realtor fees and taxes, we were looking at a profit of about $90,000 each. Kelsey seemed excited about the number, but also nervous. I asked if she wanted to put it on the market right away or wait until spring when more buyers would be looking. She said we should talk about it over the weekend and make a decision. That Friday, I got a call from Kelsey's boyfriend, Jeremiah. This was strange because he had never called me before. He said he needed to talk to me about something important regarding Kelsey in the house. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop near my apartment that evening. Jeremiah looked uncomfortable when I sat down across from him. He ordered a coffee but didn't drink it. He kept fidgeting with the cup and avoiding eye contact. Finally, he said Kelsey had asked him not to tell me what he was about to say, but he couldn't keep quiet anymore. Kelsey had already accepted an offer on the house. She had listed it 3 weeks ago without telling me. A buyer had offered $260,000, which was $20,000 less than the appraised value, but still a significant profit. Kelsey had accepted the offer, and the closing was scheduled for the following month. I sat there trying to process what Jeremiah had just told me. Kelsey had gone behind my back and sold our grandmother's house while I was still working on it every day. She had lied to me for weeks about her plans. I asked Jeremiah why he was telling me this now. He said Kelsey had been stressed about keeping the secret and it was affecting their relationship. She had been snapping at him over small things and seemed guilty about something. When he finally got her to admit what was going on, he told her she needed to tell me the truth. When she refused, he decided to tell me himself. Jeremiah also revealed that Kelsey had been talking to a real estate agent for over a month. She had gotten advice on pricing and marketing without including me in any of those conversations. The agent had told her that waiting until spring might not result in a significantly higher sale price, and Kelsey wanted to close the deal as soon as possible. I asked Jeremiah if he knew why Kelsey was in such a hurry to sell. He said she and her boyfriend had been looking at houses together and wanted to use her share of the money as a down payment. They had found a place they liked but needed to act fast because there were other interested buyers. After Jeremiah left, I drove to Kelsey's apartment. Her car was in the parking lot, so I knew she was home. I knocked on the door, but she didn't answer. I could hear the TV inside. I called her phone and heard it ringing through the door, but she still didn't answer. The next morning, I went to the house on Maple Street. I had keys and was planning to continue working on the exterior painting. When I pulled into the driveway, there was a sign in the front yard that said "Sold" in big red letters. I called Kelsey repeatedly that day. She finally answered around dinner time. She said she could explain everything and asked me to meet her at a restaurant near her work. I agreed because I needed to hear her side of the story. Kelsey was already sitting at a table when I arrived. She looked tired and avoided making eye contact when I sat down. She ordered a salad but barely touched it. I asked her to explain why she had sold the house without telling me. She said she was sorry for not discussing it with me first. She claimed she had gotten scared about the real estate market and wanted to sell before prices dropped. She said the buyer was offering cash and could close quickly, which seemed like a good opportunity. I asked her about the 3 weeks of lying and why she had Jeremiah tell me instead of being honest herself. She said she knew I would be upset and she didn't know how to bring it up. She said she had been planning to tell me after the closing was finalized. Kelsey then said something that made everything clear. She said she needed her share of the money sooner than we had originally planned because she and Jeremiah were getting engaged. They wanted to buy a house together and start their life as a married couple. She said she hoped I would understand and be happy for her. I asked if she had considered that I might have needed more time to finish the work I was doing, or that I might have wanted input on the sale price and terms. She said the buyer was happy with the house as it was and didn't require any additional work to be completed. The conversation ended badly. Kelsey kept apologizing but also defending her decision. She said she had the right to sell her half of the house whenever she wanted. I pointed out that we had agreed to work on it together and make decisions together. She said plans changed and I needed to be more flexible. I left the restaurant without finishing my food. Kelsey called after me, but I kept walking. I spent the rest of that weekend thinking about everything that had happened over the past 6 months. The closing was scheduled for 3 weeks later. Kelsey texted me the details about where and when to sign the papers. She also sent me a breakdown of the expenses we had incurred and what my share of the profit would be. After all costs were deducted, I would receive about $87,000. I didn't respond to her texts. I had taken 6 months off work to renovate our grandmother's house. I had learned new skills, worked 12-hour days, and put my career on hold. Kelsey had made a major decision about our shared inheritance without including me in the process. The day before the closing, Kelsey called me. She said she understood I was upset but hoped we could move forward as siblings. She said she loved me and didn't want this to ruin our relationship permanently. She asked if I would attend the closing with her so we could sign the papers together. I told her I would be there to sign the papers because I needed the money, but I needed time to think about everything else. She said she understood and hoped I would eventually forgive her. Update 1: the closing went smoothly. Kelsey and I signed all the paperwork but didn't talk much beyond what was necessary for the legal process. The buyer seemed nice and said he was planning to move in with his family within a month. Kelsey tried to make small talk afterward, but I said I had to get back to work. I had returned to my job the week before the closing. My boss was understanding about the extended leave and welcomed me back. It felt good to get back into a routine and focus on something other than the house situation. Kelsey texted me a few times over the next couple of weeks. She sent photos from her engagement dinner with Jeremiah and their families. She also forwarded me the listing for the house they wanted to buy together. I didn't respond to any of her messages. 3 weeks after the closing, I got a call from my cousin Loretta, 27F. She's Kelsey's age and they had always been close growing up. Loretta said she needed to tell me something about Kelsey and the house sale, but she wanted to meet in person. We met at a park near downtown. Loretta seemed nervous, similar to how Jeremiah had acted before telling me about the secret sale. She said Kelsey had confided in her about something months ago and she was having second thoughts about keeping quiet. According to Loretta, Kelsey had been planning to sell the house quickly from the very beginning. The renovation work was never intended to maximize the sale price. Kelsey had only agreed to the renovation plan because she thought it would keep me busy and involved while she worked with the real estate agent behind the scenes. Loretta said Kelsey had contacted a realtor in March, just 2 months after Grandma's funeral. The realtor had told her that the house would sell quickly in its current condition because the lot was in a desirable location. The buyer who eventually purchased it had actually been interested since April, but Kelsey had asked the realtor to wait until the renovation work was nearly complete. The most shocking part of Loretta's revelation was about the money. Kelsey had told the realtor she was the sole owner of the house. She had planned to take the entire sale proceeds and then give me some money later, claiming it was a gift to help me get back on my feet after taking time off work. Loretta said Kelsey only changed her mind about cutting me out completely after Jeremiah found out about the deception and threatened to break up with her if she didn't include me in the sale. That's why I ended up getting my legal share, but Kelsey had never intended for me to receive it initially. I asked Loretta why she was telling me this now. She said Kelsey had been bragging at family gatherings about how she had managed the house sale efficiently while I was wasting time on unnecessary renovations. Loretta said she couldn't listen to Kelsey take credit for being organized and business-minded when she knew the truth about the deception. Loretta also told me that Kelsey had been telling relatives that I was being childish and unreasonable about the house sale. Kelsey claimed she had tried to include me in the decision-making process, but I was too focused on the renovation work to pay attention to practical matters like pricing and timing. After talking with Loretta, I realized that Kelsey's betrayal was much deeper than I had originally understood. She had been lying to me for months, not just weeks. She had planned to steal my inheritance entirely and only backed down when her boyfriend forced her to reconsider. I called Jeremiah to thank him for telling me about the sale when he did. I also asked if he knew about Kelsey's original plan to exclude me from the profits. He said he had suspected something was wrong with Kelsey's story about me being an equal partner, but he hadn't known the specific details until recently. Jeremiah told me he and Kelsey had been having problems since the house closing. Kelsey had been angry with him for interfering in her family business. She accused him of ruining her relationship with me by forcing her to be honest about the sale timeline. Their engagement had been put on hold while they worked through these issues. I decided to confront Kelsey directly about what Loretta had told me. I called her and asked if we could meet to discuss some things I had learned about the house sale. She agreed, probably thinking I was ready to apologize and move forward. We met at the same restaurant where we had talked after Jeremiah first told me about the sale. Kelsey looked different. She had cut her hair shorter and seemed more confident than she had during our previous conversation. She ordered wine with dinner, which was unusual for her. I asked Kelsey to tell me the complete truth about her plans for the house sale. I said I had learned some information that made me question what she had told me before. She asked what I meant and who I had been talking to. I told her about my conversations with Loretta and Jeremiah. Kelsey's expression changed immediately. She looked trapped, like she was trying to figure out how much I actually knew. She asked what exactly Loretta had said. I repeated what Loretta had told me about Kelsey's original plan to keep all the sale proceeds for herself. Kelsey denied this at first, saying Loretta must have misunderstood something she had said months ago. When I pressed her for more details, she admitted that she had considered different options for handling the sale, but had always planned to split the money with me. The conversation became heated. Kelsey accused Loretta of betraying family confidences and stirring up trouble. She said Jeremiah had no right to interfere in our sibling relationship. She claimed that everyone was making the situation more complicated than it needed to be. I asked Kelsey directly if she had told the realtor she was the sole owner of the house. She was quiet for a long time before admitting that she had simplified the ownership situation when first contacting the agent. She said she had planned to clarify the details later, but things had moved faster than expected. Kelsey then tried to justify her actions by saying she had been trying to protect both of us from making bad financial decisions. She said I was too emotionally attached to the house and would have wanted to keep it in the family instead of selling for maximum profit. She claimed her approach had been more practical and business-minded. I told Kelsey that I was done with her lies and manipulation. She had betrayed my trust, stolen months of my time, and tried to cheat me out of my inheritance. She had only included me in the sale because her boyfriend had forced her to do the right thing. Kelsey started crying and said she was sorry for how everything had turned out. She said she loved me and had never meant to hurt me permanently. She asked if there was anything she could do to fix our relationship. I told her there wasn't anything she could do. I said I needed her to stay out of my life while I figured out how to move forward. Kelsey asked if I would consider family counseling or mediation to work through our problems. I said no. I left Kelsey at the restaurant and haven't spoken to her since. She has sent several text messages apologizing and asking me to reconsider cutting contact, but I haven't responded. Jeremiah texted me once to say he and Kelsey had broken up, partly because of the ongoing family drama. Update 2. Kelsey has been trying to contact me through other family members. She asked our dad to call me and encourage reconciliation. Our dad called, but I told him I wasn't interested in discussing Kelsey or her behavior. He said family should stick together and that holding grudges wasn't healthy. I told him he wasn't in a position to give advice about family relationships. Our cousin Loretta has been keeping me updated on Kelsey's situation. Kelsey and Jeremiah never got back together after their breakup. Kelsey ended up buying a smaller house by herself with her share of the inheritance money. Loretta said Kelsey has been telling people that I overreacted to a simple miscommunication about business timing. Last month, I got a letter in the mail from Kelsey. It was handwritten and several pages long. She apologized again for her actions and explained that she had been under a lot of stress about her relationship with Jeremiah and her desire to start a family. She said she had made poor decisions because she was scared about her financial future. Kelsey wrote that she understood why I was angry and that she deserved my rejection. She said she hoped that someday I would be willing to give her a chance to prove she had learned from her mistakes. She asked me to consider staying in touch through Christmas cards or occasional emails, even if we couldn't rebuild a close relationship. I didn't respond to the letter. Kelsey's explanations didn't change the fact that she had planned to cheat me out of my inheritance and had lied to me for months. Her stress and financial concerns didn't justify betraying her brother's trust. 2 weeks ago, I found out from Loretta that Kelsey had been contacting other relatives to ask about my well-being and what I was doing with my life. She had asked our Aunt Margaret if I was dating anyone or if I seemed happy at work. She also asked our Uncle Paul if he thought I would attend family gatherings during the holidays. I realized that Kelsey was gathering information about me through our extended family. I decided to set boundaries with relatives who might be sharing details about my personal life with her. I called Loretta, Margaret, and Paul to ask them not to discuss me with Kelsey or pass along information about my activities and relationships. Most of our relatives understood my request and agreed to respect my privacy. Our Aunt Margaret said she thought I was being too harsh, but she would honor my wishes. Our Uncle Paul said he supported whatever decision I felt was right for my mental health. I also learned from Loretta that Kelsey had been struggling with the social consequences of our arrangement. Some family members had taken sides or formed opinions about what had happened with the house sale. Kelsey had been excluded from a few family events because hosts weren't sure how to handle the situation with both of us invited. I hadn't been attending many family gatherings anyway, so this didn't affect me directly. But I realized that Kelsey was experiencing real consequences for her actions beyond just losing her relationship with me. Her reputation within our extended family had been damaged by the truth about her deceptive behavior. Loretta told me that Kelsey had asked her to encourage me to attend our cousin David's wedding in December. Kelsey promised she would keep her distance and not try to approach me at the event. She just wanted me to feel comfortable participating in family celebrations without worrying about awkward confrontations. I decided not to attend David's wedding. It had nothing to do with Kelsey's presence, but I didn't want family members to think I was making decisions based on avoiding her. I sent David and his fiancée a nice gift and a congratulations card explaining that I had work commitments that weekend. The holidays are coming up, and I know there will be more pressure from family members to reconcile with Kelsey. Our dad has already called twice asking about Christmas plans and suggesting that Kelsey and I should at least exchange gifts to show goodwill. I've told him repeatedly that I'm not interested in maintaining any contact with Kelsey. I've been doing well on my own. Work has been busy and engaging. I've been dating someone I met through friends, and we've been spending time together on weekends. I've also been taking woodworking classes at a community center, which has been a good way to use the construction skills I learned while renovating Grandma's house. The money from the house sale has been sitting in a savings account earning interest. I've been thinking about using some of it to buy my own place, but I'm not in a hurry to make that decision. Having financial security has been more valuable than I expected after taking so much time off work last year. Update 3. Kelsey showed up at my apartment last Sunday morning. I was getting ready to meet my girlfriend Sarah for brunch when I heard knocking at my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Kelsey standing in the hallway holding a coffee tray and a bag from the bakery where we used to get pastries as kids. I didn't open the door immediately. Kelsey knocked again and said she knew I was home because my car was in the parking lot. She said she just wanted to talk for 5 minutes and then she would leave me alone permanently if that's what I wanted. I opened the door but didn't invite her inside. Kelsey looked tired and thinner than when I had last seen her. She was wearing jeans and an old sweater that I remembered from college. She tried to hand me the coffee and pastries, but I didn't take them. Kelsey said she had been thinking about our conversation at the restaurant and realized she hadn't been completely honest about her motivations for selling the house quickly. She said she wanted to tell me the real reason she had been in such a hurry to close the deal. According to Kelsey, she had been having financial problems for months before Grandma passed away. She had been using credit cards to pay for Grandma's care expenses and had accumulated significant debt. When Jeremiah proposed marriage, she panicked about bringing debt into their relationship and saw the house sale as a way to solve her money problems quickly. Kelsey said she hadn't told me about her financial situation because she was embarrassed and didn't want me to think she couldn't manage her adult responsibilities. She said she had convinced herself that getting the house sold efficiently was more important than including me in every decision about timing and marketing. I asked Kelsey why she was telling me this now, months after our last conversation. She said she had been in credit counseling and was learning about honest communication as part of managing financial stress. Her counselor had suggested she take responsibility for how her money problems had affected her relationships. Kelsey also told me that she had been fired from her accounting job 2 weeks earlier. Her supervisor had discovered that she had been making personal phone calls to real estate agents and contractors during work hours while we were renovating the house. The company had considered this a misuse of work time and a conflict of interest with her professional responsibilities. I realized Kelsey was trying to gain sympathy by sharing her problems, but her explanation still didn't justify lying to me for months or planning to exclude me from my inheritance. Having debt and work stress didn't excuse betraying family trust. Kelsey asked if I would consider having coffee with her once a month to slowly rebuild our relationship. She said she didn't expect things to go back to how they were before, but she hoped we could eventually be civil at family events. She promised she would never lie to me again about anything. I told Kelsey that I appreciated her honesty about her financial situation, but I wasn't ready to have regular contact with her. I said I needed more time to process everything that had happened and decide what kind of relationship, if any, I wanted to have with her in the future. Kelsey asked if she could send me updates about her life occasionally through text or email. She said she wanted me to know how she was doing and that she was working to become a more trustworthy person. I told her that wasn't necessary and that I would contact her if I ever wanted to resume communication. Before leaving, Kelsey asked if I would consider attending family events if she promised to keep our interactions minimal and polite. She said she didn't want our conflict to continue affecting other relatives who wanted both of us to be present at celebrations and gatherings. I told Kelsey I would make my own decisions about family events based on what felt right for me, not based on accommodating her comfort level. I said she should focus on rebuilding her own life instead of worrying about managing my social choices. Kelsey left the coffee and pastries outside my door and walked back to her car. I watched through my window as she sat in her car for several minutes before driving away. I threw away the food and drinks without trying them. I told my girlfriend Sarah about Kelsey's visit when we met for brunch. Sarah asked if I felt any differently about Kelsey after hearing about her financial problems and job loss. I said I felt bad that Kelsey was struggling, but her current difficulties didn't change what she had done to me. Sarah said she understood my decision to maintain distance from Kelsey. She said trust was important in family relationships, just like in romantic relationships, and it was reasonable for me to protect myself from someone who had proven to be deceptive. I called Loretta later that week to let her know about Kelsey's visit. Loretta said Kelsey had been talking to several family members about her money problems and job situation. Loretta thought Kelsey might be hoping that people would pressure me to forgive her because she was having a hard time. I asked Loretta not to share details about my conversations with Kelsey or my thoughts about reconciliation with other relatives. I said I wanted to handle the situation privately without input or pressure from extended family members. Last week I got a text message from an unknown number. It turned out to be from Jeremiah Kelsey's ex-boyfriend. He said Kelsey had asked him to contact me to confirm that everything she had told me about her financial problems was true. He said he didn't want to get involved in our family conflict, but he could verify that Kelsey had been struggling with debt and work stress. I didn't respond to Jeremiah's text. I didn't need verification of Kelsey's claims because they didn't change my decision about our relationship. Whether Kelsey's motivations were purely selfish or partially driven by desperation, she had still chosen to betray my trust when she could have asked for help or been honest about her situation. I've been thinking about what kind of relationship I might want with Kelsey in the future, if any. Right now, I don't miss having her in my life. I have good friends, a supportive girlfriend, and a stable work situation. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything important by not talking to Kelsey. I might be willing to be polite to Kelsey at future family events, but I don't think I want to rebuild a close sibling relationship with her. Too much has happened for me to trust her judgment or rely on her support. I'm comfortable with having a smaller circle of people I'm close to if it means those relationships are more honest and reliable. The house on Maple Street has been sold and renovated by its new owners. I drove by it last month when I was in that neighborhood visiting friends. The new family has painted it a different color and added a fence around the backyard. It looks nice, but it doesn't look like Grandma's house anymore. I'm planning to use some of the money from the house sale to buy my own place this spring. I've been looking at condos and small houses in neighborhoods closer to my work. I want something that's entirely mine, where I can make decisions without having to consult or accommodate anyone else's preferences or timeline. Kelsey sent me a Christmas card, but I didn't open it. I can tell from the envelope that she wrote something inside. But I'm not interested in reading whatever message she wanted to share. I've moved forward with my life, and I'm doing well without her involvement or input. I know some people think family relationships should be forgiven and preserved, regardless of what happens between relatives, but I think people have the right to choose who they want in their lives based on how they've been treated. Kelsey had many opportunities to be honest with me and chose deception instead. I'm comfortable with the consequences of that choice.